So section. So I have the typology, progression, and history, with the math discussion, talking about the order of functions, and we'll talk about socionics, MBTI, Carl Jung, CF Joseph, just the big typology rabbit hole, like the big umbrella, before OPS. I do think that OPS is the better typology and all that, but I will really talk about all the typology in the first section. The second section will be about symbolism with typology, because I think that actually the best typology is the typology that has the best math, but also the best that align the most with symbolism. And I think I will explain that a lot with patterns, fractals, how it comes together, and really fundamental categories, because that's what OPS is aiming at. Really, like, it cannot be wrong in the sense that people will inevitably fall into the trap of fundamental categories. So, and that's why it's using really big words that have a lot of chart to them, like identity, tribe, non-getter. They really have a we can see them in everything. They're very universal across the board, and they have a psychic charge, that it's really have a feeling charge to it, you can see. So yeah, symbolism with typology, that's my second section. And after the trends with typology in the culture. So now it will be maybe more controversial in this one. I will talk a lot about a lot of things, and you will see, guys, as it's the trends that I see in the culture that actually are in line with OPS, because I do think that OPS, I think a lot of people are not aware of how OPS is really kind of part of a very I think that the potential of OPS is really big, like very, very big, but a lot of controversial take on this and I think that also people that a lot of people might not see. So I think that this part will be very interesting for most people, but maybe controversial, and people will not really agree with me, maybe, but we'll see about that. After, I have the self-archetype and myths sections. So it's more about Carl Jung and the archetypes and the stories, the hero journey, and really the myths kind of goes hand in hand with the typology progression to some degree. But in this part with the self-archetype, I will share my website actually. So yeah, my website that actually talk about a lot of things. Now my website, I did it on 2023, and a lot of things now that I don't agree about, and it's very NF, and it's very like observer and all that. So I hope you also keep in mind in the stream that I'm a particular type, and I might say things kind of according to my type. I try to fight it in some sense, and to not go in line so much with the crazy ENFP, more be an integrate one. But yeah, so I still have good takes, integrate takes, but some takes, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And yeah, my last session is really the theories, the tools, and operationalize OPS. So a lot of theories. I connect a lot of things to OPS, like a lot of things, and I will try. I mean, kind of one of my goals is really to operationalize OPS or integrate it in the culture and the systems. But a lot of it, I will talk about it in the trends with typology. But a lot about it are pretty dark. Some are actually pretty exciting. Some are pretty optimistic. And yeah, so it's more than I think about it. Oftentimes with everything, there's bad and good about it. But I will dive even more in the operationalization of OPS and the tools. Not that. So just a big introduction there through my sections. So typologies, progression, and history. So now we'll talk about how we start off the typologies, kind of what is a typology, and the history of it. So it will not be the most exhaustive, but still kind of a big, kind of a coherent presentation of it. So yeah, so what is typology? So typology, it's more like an organization of characteristic kind of characterize people, types, like having some traits, characteristic of good and bad, what makes a good typology, might be binary coins, positions that are that have some kind of description attached to it, some kind of spectrum, kind of like the big five, or you're the spectrum. Comparing just humans beings, characteristic that we see outside, kind of pointing out to some kind of archetypes. So that will be kind of my point here, that what is typology is pretty large. It can be pretty general, pretty precise. It depends on what you want it to be, but pretty basically it's really like the characteristic of a bunch of people, and kind of doing a classification out of that, which traits on the spectrums, and I have tools to kind of comprehend the spectrum. But so that's kind of what I think. What is a typology? I think that people might have different definition about it. No, in OPS we don't really think so much about it. It's more like the double-blind method, and just classifying people on the spectrum. And with time, with the data, we can know, we have the classification of types. So it's more the classic kind of empirical, going to the data, and after see the classification of all the types. But yeah, so that's kind of what typology is, briefly enough.